All right, so as you can see, I'm on another YouTube kick. Dude, I just like going on a whole fucking like hour-long tangent about George Carlin's, quote where he says, "There's a big club and you ain't in it." And it's like, oh man, don't get me started on that fucking rabbit hole, bro. Like, fuck. It is such madness. Anyways, so this, I wanted to, hold on, pardon me. Okay, so now I have 3 subscribers, and I don't get a lot of views, so normally I wouldn't, like, do this, but because I don't have a lot of subscribers or views, I want to just, like, mention some stuff like, I appreciate this subscriber. And though we may seem to differ on certain things, it's not. Whatever the case, it doesn't matter right now. What I wanted to say is, first of all, I appreciate this 3rd subscriber. So what I did, oh my gosh, you guys, fuck. Okay, so what is the name of that channel? Is it Call for an Uprising or whatever the... Anyways, I saw this video, and I've seen this guy's videos before, and he did a video where he covered a witch, a real witch. See, this is the thing. People like this guy call, what is it? Fuck, what is the name of that channel? Anyways, whatever. People that talk about real witches, dude, like, they are right. They are right. And so I came across one of his videos where he did coverage of one of these witches, and they're real witches. And it's true, dude. See, because I had this event happen to me 2 years ago. And now, after having that experience, like, I know, okay, that there are fucking real bona fide, like, witches. Now, me personally, okay, it's a deep subject, though. It's something that needs to be thoroughly investigated. Because first of all, that turns a lot of people off. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's talking about witches." I'm not. So you automatically eliminate a whole group of people who won't even consider that there are real witches, and that actually some of their spells are actually real spells that you can observe with your own fucking eyes, And on top of that, they do satanic fucking sacrifices. It's all real. It's fucking real shit. And there are so many people that don't. They're like, nah, And so when I saw this channel, I think it's Call for an Uprising, and he covered one of these witches, and dude, it's like, it's so crazy how many people don't understand what is going on with that. That is a real phenomenon that is going on in the world, and it is connected and tied to many things. But a lot of these so-called dot connectors, they're not going to talk about it. Like Corbett Report, they're not going to be talking about it. True Stream Media, they're not going to be talking about it. But the crazy thing is how real the witch thing is, like Satanism and dude, and it is, and how it's tied to the jab and everything. Like it's so insane. It's so fucking insane. Okay. And so I did a series of videos called the Event Storyboard, and it's got part 1 through 7, and then part 8 is a 3-minute clip of the town. Like there's all kinds of controversy in this town that the incident happened in, that the event. Okay, and like there's a ley line that goes directly over this town. I've had several UFO sightings with my own eyes. I've seen UFOs here and in this area. And so people, they just shut down. They're not going to consider like that the UFO sightings are real. Now, all I'm saying is unidentified flying object. I don't know what it is. I'm not claiming I know what it is, but I have seen it. I have seen it, dude, out here. And things that I've seen, like UFO sightings, that later on I'll find videos of them circulating on BitChute, where the same sighting happened in fucking like Ohio or something, and it was the exact same thing that I saw, you know, a few hundred miles from this tiny town. Like I've seen, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in this town, and so it's on a ley line, you know. So, anyways, so I want to start working on finishing up that story. So the 8 parts, that's like 2 hours, okay. And also I because it's such a long story, there's so many details I had to leave out, you know. And when I start talking about details and when it regarding like witches and witch cults and real magic, where like you can literally observe the spells they're casting, you can see them with your own eyes and shit like this, like people don't listen. So I have to be very careful when I'm outlining this storyboard, because it's an important story. It's a real thing that happened. And I can't emphasize enough how the seriousness of this story, like it is unbelievable. Okay. And so I have refrained in that whole 8 parts, all that 2 hours, refrained from talking about anything about witches, witchcraft, any of that shit. Okay. Mostly. And whatever I did, it was just speculation. It was like other people saying that they think she might be a witch, etc., etc. Well, dude, this is why I want to do. So I have 2 other parts to this story. So there's the event, then there's the pre-event and the post-event. And the approach that I am taking to telling this story is to start with the event itself and then flesh it out. Because I've tried to tell this story, and it's so hard to tell, because the pre-event is just as relevant as the event itself, and as if not more, and then the post-event is just as relevant, if not more, than the event itself. And by going into the details of the pre-event actually makes the event itself even more intense and insane, and as well as the post-event. So when I'm describing the event itself, I'm just going over the basic facts. Like this is what, but just the basic facts itself is almost an unbelievable story, because by the end, I'm telling you, my shit got burnt down. They committed arson against me. They put death threats out on me. It was a loose attempt on my life, which it was a pathetic and poor attempt. Nonetheless, that's what the goal was. And they got away with all this shit. They tried to kill me. They put a death threat out on me. They burned my shit down. Among all this, like it was this big conspiracy with this cult of New Age weirdo fucking witch cult. And a lot of the real witch cult witches themselves are real. I'm not talking about that. It's just like Wiccan. Like I have a Wiccan book right here. I'll give you an example. See, this is a Wiccan book, a guide for the solitary practitioner. And this book on Wiccan is about, you know, the benign aspect of witchcraft, like about, you know, the rule of 3, for example, is do no harm and blessed be. These are the codes within like this type of Wiccan, you know, that they love nature and you know, and do no harm and blessed be. So do no harm. So whatever you think about this and like Wiccan, I'm not talking about people that practice. I'm talking about people that legitimately are legitimately involved in black magic, and they're legitimately involved in a conscious attempt at conjuring evil spirits and cursing people with evil and black magic and stuff. That's the kind of witches I'm talking about, okay? And that they're here. There's a cult of them that they fucking put a death threat out on me. They attempted pathetic failed attempt to take my life, and they burned the place that I lived at, along with half the block, including a 4-bedroom house and and a big storage building. Like half of the block is just like a bomb went off right there. All within 2 weeks. All of this happened within 2 weeks, out of the blue, out of nowhere. And it was all my psycho ex, because she is a witch. Okay, she is pursuing the dark arts. Like she is consciously pursuing evil black magic and wants to be an evil witch, which is what resulted in all this stuff happening to me. And the police covered it all up. They swept all of it under the rug. The local government and the law enforcement had every part in sweeping it all under the rug. And so that it was all just nothing happened. Don't worry about this. Okay. And, but anyways, so the pre-event and the post-event, and again, I have tried as much as I possibly can to refrain from personal opinion in telling this story in the storyboard. I've tried as much as I can to remove emotion and feeling, but at the same time, it's emotional because it's like, after telling the whole story, how could anybody believe that it's all coincidence? All that wasn't coincidence. That I just, the home coincidentally got burnt down. The phone call just coincidentally sounded like a death threat. That it just coincidentally, all these events just appeared as though they were trying to kill me. All this stuff, like, it starts to get frustrating because for anybody to accuse me of that I just have an overactive imagination would be to assume that all these events that really did take place was all just coincidence. And it's obviously not coincidence. Like, you would have to be a complete fucking retard once hearing the whole story, just the general story of the event, that it was all coincidence. Only a retard. Like, investigators, like, their job to investigate shit like this, everything that I described is all clues. And it's like a overwhelming, like a mountain of circumstantial evidence. Like in a court of law, if all this went to a court of law between me and her, and you had a jury that had to sift through all these details and corroborate all this stuff, well, all the fire damage is there, you know. Everything that I'm saying, the majority of this stuff can be corroborated. I could get dossiers and get the fucking camera, the video camera of the cop when I'm talking to the cop, and the cop is telling me that it's under investigation and that I could put in a request for information, but they're probably not going to tell me anything because it's under investigation. I can like legitimately prove this stuff. And after all the evidence is presented, for somebody to think that it's all coincidence and there wasn't a conspiracy, only a retard would think that. Only a complete dumb fuck idiot would think that. And that doesn't even include all the witchcraft shit. So when I go into the pre-event and the post-event, you will see, like, for example, she has a tattoo of the Necronomicon symbol right here that's like as big as a small dinner plate. Like this big of the Necronomicon tattooed right here. She's got a tattoo of the Grim Reaper, and you don't understand. You don't understand. If a person were to investigate this story, this is pure satanic witchcraft, and that this person and her witch cult friends literally attempted to do a sacrifice. And all this happened in October. The story that I outlined, the storyboard, the fire happened October. It could have even been October 13th. In actuality, I believe it was the 13th. It may have been the 15th, but it was either the 13th or the 15th October of 2022. And all of this is just coincidence. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, there are very few people that understand that witches are real and that witch spellcasting is real, where you can actually see with your own eyes the spells that they are attempting to cast on you. That you can literally see it. You can see the fucking black eye, the black-eyed fucking children effect. You can see the black eyes. You can practically see the possession within the this is all visible stuff. It's like empirical evidence. And that's despite all of this stuff about the fire and the fucking death threat and all this crazy. I'm saying there's a whole other component. That's why I need to do the pre-event and the post-event. And you've got like the big tattoo on her thing. There's like nothing but all this evidence similar to the big Necronomicon tattoo. Like everything witch, this bitch is everything that you can imagine satanic and witchcraft. And it's all hidden. Like she's constantly trying to hide it. Like, and she's a master at hiding all of this, that she's like, I didn't know she was involved in witchcraft at all. I didn't know. And so see, there's all these other details. And I have just been kind of just trying to, so anyways, so this person that subscribed, the reason they subscribed is because they found out about my story and they wanted to look into it. And then they made a comment saying that they're interested in hearing more, which is rare. Most people don't want to hear this story. It's really rare. And people can like rationalize why they don't want to hear it. They can come up with all kinds of excuses as like, well, you know, it doesn't really matter now because of the direction the world is going. We don't have time to go over stories like this or anything. There's just, oh, witches aren't real. This guy's a kook, you know. Overactive imagination, blah blah blah. Well, this is how these satanic motherfuckers, they continue to get away with it, is because nobody will believe it. Nobody will ever. They'll just be like, oh, another satanic panic story, you know, or whatever. And I'm telling you, dude, like after what happened to me 2 years ago, when Call for an Uprising or whatever that channel is does stories covering witches and how witches are real. This is real shit. I am telling you, he's right. This is real, and this is going to continue to grow in my lifetime. We're going to see this shit happening way more. Like it is bigger than any. It is probably bigger than almost any other conspiracy that they're talking about. It is big. This is big shit. And what happened to me is happening to all kinds of people. But nobody's listening to their stories. Because who am I? I'm just a nobody. Like I'm lucky that this person would even listen to my story. This person subscribed to my channel just to listen to that story. And I'm lucky that anybody will listen to me. And that's what I'm saying. What happened to me is happening to all kinds of people and nobody's listening to them. Nobody's listening to them at all. And that's why it's going to grow and grow and grow. This is the plague of all plagues. Satanism, which, dude, this shit is totally going to be taking over everything. And it's connected to the shots and all this stuff, man. So anyways, so I just wanted to do kind of a disclaimer. Like I really want to start working on the pre-event and post-event. And it's going to be another, like, each one is probably going to be 2 hours. So the event itself is like an 8-part series that's like 2 hours. Oh, just over 2 hours long. The pre-event is going to be 2 hours probably as well. And then the post-event is also going to be about 2 hours. So it's like a total of 6 hours. And see, this is the thing. When I reference like a courtroom and stuff, and like when I reference, you know, police interviews, where police interview and interrogate people. This is why police interviews and interrogations take like 9 hours. It's just hours and hours and hours. And this is why in courtrooms, like, you know, juries have to sift through detail after detail, and it takes hours and hours and hours. So, and nobody really... The police only do these hours and hours of interrogations and interviews is because it's their job. Juries and courtrooms only do this hours and hours of sifting through evidence because they're mandated by law to, or it's their job. Okay? And so the approach that I'm taking with this storyboard is all this evidence. It's like hours and hours and hours of evidence. So it's not like some, you know, if people didn't have to do it because it was their job, well, nobody would do it. And so who's going to sit and listen to 9 hours of a police officer interviewing somebody? Well, only people that have to do it because it's their job, you know, in order to find out the story. And so this is like that. This is like there's going to be all these details that just seem like nothing, but they aren't. Like the tattoo, it just seems like nothing. Well, that's what I thought when I met her. Well, it's just a Necronomicon tattoo, but you don't understand. And see, all these little details that may seem like nothing, again, this is why courtrooms have to sift through hours and hours and hours and hours. This is why police interview and interrogate for hours and hours. And all these little details like that tattoo may not mean nothing, but it is little details like that that break open a case. And this is a real event that happened. And I know that it's a case to be broken open because I was the one that experienced it. I saw all this shit. And so the pre-event and the post-event, I am going to continue to approach it from a pragmatic, where I'm just going to say, yeah, there was this tattoo here and all, but it's going to be like all this evidence of like shit like the tattoo, like all this shit, including the post-event, all the same shit. And it's just going to be a big hours and hours of all this shit. Just like you would have to sift through hours and hours of interrogation footage and hours of evidence in a courtroom in order to figure out what is going on. And then after I'm done with the pre-event and the post-event, then I would like to conclude it with my opinions, because I'm forced to just take a pragmatic approach and just give you the evidence and let you conclude for yourself, let you decide for yourself. So once I've done all that, then I'm going to do the last one where I'm going to say, dude, despite what you might think happened after viewing all this, I'm going to tell you what the fuck actually did happen, because it was me that experienced it. And what really happened is the fucking bitch is a fucking satanic fucking witch and has probably already been involved in fucking satanic sacrificing of human beings and dogs and all kinds of other shit. And she's like walking around free, and there's a fucking whole cult of them, and that the police and the fucking governments are involved in covering all this shit up, and that it's real fucking shit. And that all you people that don't understand, it's really sad that you don't understand that this is a big component of everything that's going on. So